And here we are for the Miami Dolphins post-game show. And by the way, we're just going to go ahead and say it right now. This show is also brought to you by Prize Picks. And yes, Prize Picks is a revolutionary new daily fantasy game whereby you pick 2, 3, or 4 fantasy players to go over or under their fantasy point projections. So for those of you who were picking the over on Tua throwing 0 yards today, then guess what? You are the big winners today. So, and you can, of course, use the promo code 5 and receive a $100% instant deposit up to $100, and you go ahead and sign up at prizepicks.com to start winning today. And speaking of winning, the Miami Dolphins not only won, they won in shutout fashion. It wasn't the prettiest game you ever saw, but well, I guess that depends on your definition of pretty, because for many Dolphins fans out there, nothing could have been more beautiful than the sight of Bailoa warming up on the sideline with Ted Karras and coming into the game to hand the ball off to Myles Gaskin and throw 9 yards total, 1 to Jakeem Grant and 1 to Patrick Laird on the sideline. So
that's
all we needed.
I'm sure that you guys are very excited. Believe me, I'm not exactly upset about it either, but this does raise some very interesting questions, which we'll get into. But first, what we're going to talk about here, and I'm going to go to you first, Mr. Kai, your overall impressions of the game as a whole.
Should have won by more. I that's the only thing I can think of is I saw a lot of people tweeting that, like, this is the worst I felt from a win for a while. And usually I'll be like, it's whatever, it's a different team. It should have been by more. I mean, it was just the game itself was just a little bit weird, and not everything kind of went the way I guess it should have for the Dolphins. And I think it's weird talking about that, considering it's a 24-0 shutout. I mean, the defense, I feel, did its job, and there were some times where, a couple broken runs, whatever. The offense, it was a little disappointing. I mean, I'll let you guys get into it as well, because I know that Michael, I think, probably feels the same way as I do. There's just some things that were just really, really disappointing to watch from the offense. And I think the main thing that obviously we'll get into a little bit later could be something else after a certain bye week. So we'll discuss that, though.
Yep. Michael, the floor is yours then.
Yeah, I mean, the offense was a huge letdown today. I felt like we should have scored so many more points. The fact that we didn't get any third down conversions until Tua came into the game with a minute something left, and they gave him passes literally just to give him some passes. That was a really bad showing for the offense. The one other takeaway I did have from this game, though, is I really liked the defense. Now, how much of that was the defense playing great or the Jets loving incompetence, which I'm so excited to see. I hope that the Jets extend the contract for Adam Gase. Keep him here for 10, 15 years. He's the guy. He's going to get the best out of Darnold. Don't even worry about drafting Lawrence when you go 0-16. Keep Gase. He's your man, right? You got it with him. But they were so bad. But every time they even came close to a field goal, it was either a penalty on the Jets or a huge sack. Didn't we sack him for like 28 yards or something like that?
Yeah.
That is embarrassing for them. But I do think the defense played really well, other than Nick Needham, who, I'll leave him alone for this game after that one comment there. But the rest of the defense played really well. So I thought, defense played great. Offense could have done a lot better. And maybe we saw a little glimpse of the future there at the end.
And if that is what we saw, which most likely it wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen. We're very excited, and I get that, but let's not pretend like Tua just threw the ball 90 yards down the field for a touchdown here. So it was a couple of handoffs to this guy, a little toss here. And by the way, let me tell you something. I was holding my breath on that first pass because he rolled left, and here come the Jets, and they're just like gunning to take his hips right out from under him all over again. And I could see it. I could see it. It's like if this was college, I could see the targeting penalty coming. Like they wanted him down.
Yep.
And that was my fear, is that the whole Greg Williams defensive coordinator bounty gate guy. It's like, is this really the game?
You saw it a couple times. Times.
They hit Fitzpatrick way too hard. They just like punched him in the face. Like, come on.
And like there was like a chokehold. Yeah. I don't want Tua out there. You can't. In that last run to end the game, I saw Tua go in there. It's like, he's not about to try to throw a block, is he? And then he just kind of veered away. It's like, okay, thank you. You're being smart about this. This is not the time to go all out. It's like, It's okay. We've already won. Just get it over with. Get out of the way. Don't let yourself get crushed. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that he had the common sense to do that. Now, let's go ahead and get into the real discussion that this whole post-game show is probably going to be about. A, does Tua start after the bye week? And B, if he does, do we ever justify letting Fitzpatrick play again?
I think, though, before we get into the Tua thing, like just to get into the offense a little bit more, like in terms of just because, yes, it's a win and we're all going to be happy. We all expected it. I mean, but I think everyone expected it by more. Even going into the game, like even in the game, it was like, okay.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Christ.
Okay.
It was like, we have to win by more. I mean, it just against the Jets, a bad, poorly coached Jets team. I mean, it doesn't even end with Adam Gase. It goes down the freaking coaching staff of just bad staff.
Yeah.
And it was just embarrassing offensively. And I think that last week against a team that was more dealing with injuries, played a worse game than the Jets did today. I mean, literally by scoreline and the bad play from the offense, the Jets defense came up big sometimes. One interception that Fitzpatrick shouldn't have thrown, a second one that's Gator blood right there in May right there. Weird interception, but it just was embarrassing. And last week, Brian Flores said, what am I going to do? Put him out there to give a couple of handoffs. Probably wouldn't have done it this game, but we saw him warming up on the sidelines and he did it. And that's the only way going into Tua talk is now it kind of opens the door. Right. After, even though Fitzpatrick started the game well, do you put Tua in after the bye?
Yeah. And that's real. And again, that's the question we're going to have to try to answer as we go through this post game. But I will say this to Fitzpatrick's defense, the Jets came gunning for him big time today. Yep. And let's be clear about something. Yes, Fitzpatrick actually started out pretty darn good. He had 3 touchdowns before that first interception. So it's not like he was awful the whole way through. It almost seems like he ran out of gas after halftime. And maybe that has something to do with what happened. Maybe after a bye week, Fitzpatrick will be able to come back fresh. Right. And honestly, I wouldn't be upset about that because, again, I'm trying to look at the future and not the now because I don't want to run the risk of Tua behind this offensive line, which, by the way, again, this Jets team has no business being good at all, but they were coming after Fitzpatrick hard today, and he took major hits. Can you imagine if that had been Tua taking those hits? Can you imagine the cringing, the wondering if he's going to get back up, just the kind of you feel your whole insides just turn to goo every time it gets hurt, and it's like, is he going to get back up?
Those Greg Williams defenses, though, they're always like that. It doesn't matter, who's on the field for them and what type of real talent they have. They're always getting out the quarterback. I mean, literally bounty gate, head hunting. Like that's just what his defense is. I think that it just, even with the shots that Fitzpatrick was taking, you can't, there's just some of the plays you just can't make, and you can't make those decisions.
And if the question was, coming out of the bye week, do we keep Fitzpatrick? Do we start Tua? I think that's a really rough game for Tua to start off with too, right? Yeah, like sure, he'll have the bye week to warm up, but you're talking about the Rams who, they have their ups and downs, but you're still talking about Aaron Donald, and Jalen Ramsey, right? Like he's going to go up against one of the better defenses in the league as his first game behind an offensive line that is still kind of makeshift put together because we suffered the injury to Jackson. We have to see if everybody else can play right. So you're going to be hoping that Ted Karras, Solomon Kinley, and Eric Flowers. And Eric Flowers, because he switches sides. Aaron Donald.
True.
They're going to have to keep Aaron Donald away from Tua, and that makes me nervous.
Because it's actually Robert Hunt. Because remember, if it is Tua, what's his blind side now?
Oh yeah,
Robert Hunt becomes the left tackle for all intents and purposes.
Yep. And Robert Hunt's been playing well, but even he had a couple plays today where it was like, hey,
I saw him on the ground a couple times.
Yeah, you could have done better, but that was a pretty bad move, Rook. Let's try to clean that up. I don't want that to happen when Tua's in the game. Even today, the pass he threw to Jakeem Grant, he had like 3 guys coming at him right up the middle. And I'm literally standing there with my sister and my wife, and we're watching, and I'm freaking out a little bit. I'm just like, they're like, guys, don't worry about it. He'll be fine. I'm like, no, I don't know that. If he gets hit, I don't know what's going to happen. So I don't know if I start him right after the bye personally.
It's not just Tua that needs the time to warm up. It's us. We need the mental time to mentally prepare for the idea of him taking hits, because right now it's still too fresh, it's still too fresh. We still remember what happened. We still remember why we drafted him in the first place, to kind of sit him down and wait. And now that we're trying to rush the process, then it starts to feel like, well, wait a minute, the doubts start to creep in. It's like, well, what happens if he does get hurt? This is what I've been saying all along. And honestly, if they do decide to play him, fine. Just hope and pray that everything goes all right. 2 for 2 for 9 yards.
Beautiful 2 for 2.
Marino play right there.
Did you see the handoff? I mean, God, what a handoff. Gorgeous. What a handoff.
Still though. So,
oh my God.
If I'm and this is where I'm gonna just go ahead and say it, to the risk of my career, so to speak. If I'm the Dolphins, I'm putting Fitzpatrick back in next game. I am. I just am, because I still don't see the need to bring Tua in against Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, and if Fitzpatrick puts together another clunker and they're actually losing and whatever, and they need something to get a spark going, fine, maybe you throw him in there. But for right now, don't start him off that way. Just here come all the comments. Hall of Fame handoff. He's a Hall of Famer.
I love it.
Y'all,
I'm not gonna lie. Hey, they showed him warming up on the sideline, and I literally fell off my couch. I was freaking out.
I was getting my girlfriend's stuff ready because she was watching with me, and she was like, "All right, 5 minutes left, then we'll start getting your stuff ready to leave." I saw Tua, and I was like, "All right, let's go. Come on. We gotta hurry this up. We gotta go."
My wife was doing some work over in the other room, and I said Tua's warming up, and she darted over and just gave up on all of her work and was like, "I don't care about the Dolphins, but if it's Tua, I'll watch." So
yeah,
your wife's an Alabama fan, Mike?
Nope, she's just a Tua fan. Just Tua. She doesn't care at all else about football. Just Tua and the fact that he's Hawaiian. So.
See, I was looking like, okay, where's the connection?
Yeah, we watched the documentary. We watched the Tua documentary, and she just fell in love with him. So,
all right. So now let's talk about Thank you, Manning, for the 5 Reasons plug shirts. Go and buy your shirts at 5reasonsports.com. They will come to you faster than NFL.com sends in their stuff. I'll say that.
Still waiting for my damn jersey. Gosh.
Exactly.
So there you go. If you need something to represent Tua, 5 Reasons Sports, we got you covered. Anyway, so now let's go ahead and talk about, let's do the Myles Gaskin thing, all right? So obviously Gaskin, he was on fire today. This is all we're going to talk about today, isn't it? This is all we're going to talk about.
No. We'll talk about Gaskin. Talk about Gaskin. We'll do it.
All right. So let's talk. So the running game, that's the other thing we're not giving any credit to. The running game was much improved today. Myles Gaskin jumped in, did some awesome stuff. I think he ran for 84 yards. The last I heard of it was 16 carries for 84 yards. What did he finally end up getting?
18 for 91.
So I know Alfredo wanted to get to 100. He was this close to getting to 100 yards rushing, but
5.1 average.
So, and that's the thing about it. We need to give the Dolphins offensive line some credit for. Yes, they were coming after Fitzpatrick, but their run blocking was a lot better today, especially with Gaskin, who I think, if anything, he's showing some pretty darn good vision. In fact, I would say more so than Matt Breida. Breida is a Reggie Bush guy. You get into space with screens and stuff like that. Gaskin can wait for a hole to open up, and he'll run through it, and he'll get some yards for you. So I think, if anything, the whole Le'Veon Bell pursuit, I understand why the Dolphins did it. That's a chance to upgrade yourself. But if Gaskin is proving anything in my eyes, it's that he actually has that same kind of mentality. He can wait for a hole to open up, and he'll run through it. For all we know, we may have our own version of Le'Veon Bell right now. It's not like he showed up at the NFL year one and he was the best running back in football. It took a little time for him to come on to the scene. So maybe that's the case for Gaskin here. In a little bit of time, we may have our own little version of a little skinnier version of Le'Veon Bell here.
Royal really wants.
I'm like, are you laughing at me or are you laughing at the comments?
No. Comments. It's just great. No, I just think with Gaskin, like, of course, I think we all would have wanted to have Lev Bell. I mean, I think everyone can agree. And even with the commentators, as horrible as they were, the Dolphins just continue to get bad commentating teams. But you could hear them talking about Michael Pirine, and he had a really great end of the year last year for UF and was essential to a lot of their success in Dan Mullen's offense and had a really great Orange Bowl, gets drafted by the Jets. And me as a UF fan, obviously I don't want any of my players going to the Jets because they suck. But at the same time, for Pirine, like, this is a guy that showed that, okay, he has the talent if he can continue to try to develop. And obviously you want to see that out of running backs. And just like he doesn't know how to use running backs. So you have Lev Bell, don't know how to use him. You have P. Ryan, don't know how to use him. I mean, they had the one kid, I can't remember his name, that Ty Johnson, and he was the one running harder, and Frank Gore. Like, you have these guys and you can't use them correctly. I mean, how can you use Ty Johnson better than Lev Bell of like all people in the world? Like, you just can't use him. You weren't using him in the receiving game. You weren't using him in the rushing game. So I think obviously we all wanted him to come to Miami, but with Gaskin showing like, hey, and you saw it with the Instagram post. It's like, okay, they didn't get Lev Bell, but you guys got to remember, like, right now I'm the starting back and this is my job. And
he's doing a good job. It's not like he's sucking up a storm. He's doing really good on things.
And it's unexpected. No one expected him to be the starting running back coming out of this. Like, we all thought it was either going to be Jordan Howard or Matt Breida.
I thought Jordan Howard, Matt Breida, and Patrick Laird. Gaskin didn't see that coming.
I honestly thought Gaskin might be a cut. Going into it, I was like, well, you didn't look that great. Laird got more playing time. Gaskin might be cut. The one thing I will say about Gaskin is, if we go into the offseason and we have the chance to upgrade at running back, I don't think any of us don't take it.
Well, who's the upgrade?
Let's see if
hold on. That's what I was talking about earlier, saying that he may be our own little Le'Veon Bell. So now here's the question. What is it that you upgrade specifically? Because if you say that Gaskin is Le'Veon Bell, what do the Dolphins look for to complement that?
Well, I just don't. Personally, I don't think he's Le'Veon Bell.
The running style, though.
The running style,
but Le'Veon Bell is like
darting back and forth. To me, if Najee Harris or Travis Etienne is sitting there at the end of the first round, start of the second, I'd take either of those two and then and I'd keep Gaskin. And if one of those draft picks doesn't hit, I'll keep handing it off to Gaskin. But I'll take one of them and then have Gaskin as my complimentary back, as opposed to the other way around. I don't look to compliment him. I look to make him the complimentary, personally.
Etienne is just so freaking good. If he's sitting there and it makes sense, then you have to do it. Like, it's just, unless Gaskin from after the bye week against the Rams just goes off, that there's no way that you don't draft Etienne. And that's not to Gaskin's fault. Like, it's not his fault. It's not anything on him. He's been showing some great, performances and proving a lot of Dolphins fans, like the three of us, completely wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But if Travis Etienne is sitting there, you have to freaking draft him.
Yeah,
you have to.
Yeah.
So what would Gaskin have to do to let you justify going somewhere else with that pick?
He needs to average, 4 to 4.5 yards per carry throughout the rest of the season. No, but the rest of the season, he has to keep it up. And like, when we have those third and shorts, I don't know why they keep going to him to try and get them. Like, we need to be able to get some third and shorts. Like, we got them at the beginning of the season. Right. I don't know what's happened since. Maybe it was the shift on the offensive line, but I need to see him have a Kenyon Drake stretch, right? Where Kenyon Drake had those second half of the years with the Dolphins where he would blow up, and then coming into the next season, we wouldn't start him just because Gase doesn't know what he's doing, right? I need to see him have a really good set of games consistently against the Rams, against the Cardinals, against those other teams. And if he keeps playing like this, then sure, maybe I think something different, but I just don't think he will.
Because this is what I'm thinking. And I realize we're getting into draft talk now, but it's something we have to consider. Because the Dolphins have 2 first-round picks. Do you really believe that you can get Etienne without using a first-rounder? And this is the thing, and this is why we ask. Because if the Dolphins want somebody like Micah Parsons, because God knows we need a middle linebacker. We need somebody who can actually play the position well. Landon Roberts, I mean, good for him for getting him a little better, but he's still not, good. He's basically Donnell Ellerbe. I don't need a special teamer backup to be my starting thumper. I want somebody who can actually handle it, Michael Parsons. And if I'm going to let Tua play, then I would like to get somebody like a Jalen Waddle and give Tua a familiar target to throw to. But those both more than likely will require first-round draft picks to get both those guys. So at that point, are you giving up on Etienne, or are you going to run the risk that the same thing that happened last year with the running backs is going to happen again and Etienne falls into the second round?
You just got to draft Etienne, man. That's all I say. Like, if he's there and it makes sense, you got to do it. Jesus Christ.
Wait, this is actually interesting. What is he? I think it's probably just like a thankful thing, right? After
Manny's doing, I'm sure that Tua's doing his probably doing some prayer thing, like thank you, Lord, for giving
Yeah,
me this
because
hand.
he didn't even know if he was going to play again. So he's like, I was able to get back out here. Like, let me soak that in.
Manny's just trying to be Manny right now.
Manny wants to talk about Tua. Manny, why are you in the background? If you want to talk about Tua, just come in and talk about Tua. Let's go. Get your butt in here.
Tua
Let's
went
go.
2 for 9 for 9 yards. What a most beautiful handoff.
I don't think running back is top of my priority list though in terms of drafting. But what I'll say is,
if it makes sense.
Yeah, if it's there and there's not anything else I want, right? Because let's just say, so what? The Texans are 1-5 now, 1-4.
Texans are 1-4. Yeah.
So with
1-5, all right, 1-5.
With the Texans pick, because I do think the Texans are going to end up with a worse schedule than us. With the Texans pick, my priority is linebacker and Micah Parsons, right? If we can get him, if it's high enough. If our pick ends up being much later in the second round,
there's Alfredo. Tua does that after every game he plays.
Oh, okay. At that point, I consider running back if Waddle's not there. But again, that means that our offensive line has looked good and consistent the rest of the year, and I don't feel like we need anything else. Because I think none of us wouldn't be opposed to an upgrade at center either.
Nope, not at all. In fact, I really want an upgrade at center. So that's
what I'm saying. Like, running back is low.
All due respect to Ted Karras, he's doing all right, but I want more than all right. I want what Tom Brady had with Dante Scarnecchia coaching every single year. I want the Great Wall of Foxborough, but in Miami. Yeah. I want guys who are going to do everything and a half to make sure that Tua never gets touched ever. And if they do touch him too hard, he ends up getting flagged because you hugged him a little too hard. I'm still not going to get over what happened last week against the 49ers. You little chest bump, and that's a roughing the passer call. Like, if you guys are going to hype up Tua this much, I hope you're prepared to throw flags for him. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, everyone was excited about this. Twitter blew up.
Oh, yeah, you heard the flag.
Everyone wanted it. It was nuts.
Yeah. I just hope that this shuts everything, especially that I don't know if you guys saw the Lawrence Tynes tweet yesterday.
I haven't seen anything like that now.
He was I know what you're talking about. You're going to piss me off.
He's like, Mac is 10 times better as a pro than Tua is already. And I was just there like, bro, all right, let's pipe it down a little bit, bro. This dude hasn't even played a single snap yet. And then now we're going to get the complete opposite of that. Now everything that's happening in the comments, Royal, everyone is going to be like, yo, here we go. Tua is the greatest thing that's ever stepped on planet Earth. Let's get it. Like, I think we all got to be a little more reasonable. But at the same time, Tua should start against the Rams.
You really think so? I mean, you're 2-1 on this one. Me and Lewis don't think so. I really don't. I'd freak out.
Here's my thing. Against Aaron Donald, it is extremely scary because I think we can probably all agree that
who are you confident? Who are you confident that can block Aaron Donald? Okay. Who do you want Aaron Donald to be blocked by?
Right now, I would just much rather have a decent play. Like, okay, so we're happy with what Tua did with what Fitzpatrick did last week, right? Mm-hmm. And we were all like, okay, maybe this is it. But then we all, in the back of our heads, everyone thinks and remembers, okay, this is still Ryan Fitzpatrick. And at any point in time, we'll see Ryan Fitzpatrick and the Fitzmagic turn to Fitztragic. He wasn't Fitztragic today, but it still wasn't great. And the offense decided.
Yeah, he was just Fitzbad.
And if you can get if it makes sense coming out of the bye, you can get the switch, even against Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey. I think that it would make sense. Now, if they decide not to do it, I wholeheartedly trust his coaching staff. But the only thing that gets me a little bit is that they put him in at the end of the game. Because I think there's no reason why you do that unless you just want a little hope or something. That's just my personal opinion. Because it just goes back to what Brian Flores said. You're not putting him in the game to just do a couple handoffs, and they put him in anyways. So
he threw it though. It's not like he was in there.
No, I know.
Lockdown.
That was a signal. Like, I'm not going to put him in that sort of sense, and he did it anyways.
I just like the earliest, and I don't know if you agree with me on this
backup.
The earliest that I would put Tua in after this right now is against the Cardinals the next week. If Fitzpatrick lays an absolute egg against the Rams, right?
That's fine with me too.
If he has nothing going for him and he has a terrible game, the only reason why I say that is because he played pretty bad today.
I think his arm got tired.
Exactly.
Seriously.
He had a good start to the game, right? He had those 3 touchdowns to Adam Shaheen. Granted, they were the same plays that we ran against the 49ers, the little flat out route to a tight end who was wide open. but he still took us down there and scored those touchdowns and gave us the lead. Right? If you told me he had 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions against the Rams,
then there's nothing to justify.
Then I say, okay, you know what? That's fine. Next week, start Tua. But because he hasn't done that yet, and he just won us the past 2 games, I can't sit Fitzpatrick just yet.
That's the way you justify it. If Fitzpatrick had done what you said, basically throw 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, then it would have been, you have no way to justify it. You have to put 2 in there at that point. I think what happened with Fitzpatrick today, specifically, more than anything, it's not just that his arm got tired. I think he started to get a little greedy after the 3 touchdowns. Yep. I think he saw the tight end. He saw the tight end trifecta. He threw one to Shaheen. He threw one to Smythe, and he's like, you know what? I want to get Mike one too, so I'm just gonna try to throw it in there and get him a touchdown. Yeah, and it didn't work out.
Touchdown too. If he was able to squeeze it in, it would have been a touchdown.
If that guy hadn't been standing there, it would have been a touchdown.
But the thing is, he had a guy in front of Gasicki. He had a guy to the left of Gasicki, and after the interception was caught, there was a guy to the right coming into the picture as well that was also ready to cut it off. It was a purely greedy throw. It was like, you know what? I want 4 first half touchdowns. Let's go. And it's like, dude, you don't have that arm. Like, you got to know this.
I think we all have to remember too is like we might be saying this now just because he had a pretty good, as that comment said, he had a pretty good first half. This is the Jets. If this was against any other team, even when we play against Jacksonville or something like that, like that situation is not going to happen. The Jets are by far the worst coach team from top to bottom in the entire NFL. Like that, the way that the offense played in that second half, I mean, I don't want to be a complete hater, but like a different NFL team is going to find a way to score in that situation.
But it reminded me of the Jaguars second half, except instead of only calling run plays, it felt like in the second half, they called pass plays, and then Fitzpatrick threw interceptions, right?
Yeah.
And that's why they call it conservative, because Fitz was throwing interceptions and giving them a chance, and they would drive down to the 30, and then they would jets it up, right? They would either get sacked or get a penalty. But we're all complaining, oh, why does he call it conservative? Well, now we know. Because apparently Ryan Fitzpatrick, after 3 touchdowns, just gets greedy and wants everything no matter what. And it's like, dude, you got to slow down a little bit. Like, what are you doing?
But you know what? But that's the thing. That's what you're saying, is that you get the good stuff, but then you want more. You want more. You don't want them to. That's what we keep talking about all the time. Don't take your foot off the gas pedal. Well, that's the risk you run when you do that stuff. Right. That second interception, the butt
was a
pick.
Stupid throw though. It was that he can't make that throw right now anymore.
But you know what though? That's what those 50-50 balls are all about. If Preston Williams had been in the right spot, if he had been able to catch it, then it would have been a genius throw by Ryan Fitzpatrick. Execution makes everything different. Those touchdowns to Preston Williams that we've been seeing the past few weeks, they tried that the first time, and it was the worst play that they ever could have called. Why would they do that instead of running the ball? He dropped it, no touchdown. Now it works. It's brilliant. So if all this works out, then it turns into something completely different. So we can judge the results all we want to. Is the decision itself bad? The Gasicki one, I would say yes.
Yeah.
Going deep to Preston Williams, that's a 50-50 ball. I wouldn't say it's a bad decision.
He threw it behind him.
Fine, yes. But was the decision itself
It wasn't great placement, but it was the kind of throw that if he had given it to Parker would have had a better chance and probably would have come down with it, because I think on the 50-50 ball, Parker's better than
Parker's going to make an adjustment better in that
right, situation. And we all know that, right? So it's just, I'm going to give you the chance to be Parker. I think really he throws it up too to give the right receivers learning chances. He's like, I don't care if I throw an interception. Go work on your 50-50 ball against another guy. He really doesn't care.
I think I'm happy that we won, obviously, but I think that there are things that we have to really consider and look at with how this game went in the second half, because yes, there's sometimes you need to take your foot off the gas pedal a little bit, but there's just situations where you might have it too much. You're going 70 down Biscayne Boulevard instead of, being a little less on the speed. It was a little bit disappointing in the second half. There were things that just did not make sense offensively.
But I think the thing we're overlooking too is, at this point, we still, as bad as we played, we still beat them 24-0. And now we have to start talking about what we didn't think we were going to have to start talking about, which somebody mentioned earlier on the show, is playoffs. That because, okay, here's what I tweeted this out. I'm just curious.
I think at 1 and 3, the 3 of us were like, this isn't happening. Like,
Yeah, we
And
thought it wasn't going to
now-
happen just because of the way they were going. But also the schedule changes and stuff.
Yeah.
But okay, we were trying to pay a ton of money for Le'Veon Bell. If the reports are right, we were waving dollars in his face, right? So if we're being that aggressive, it's because they believe this team can win now. Because Le'Veon Bell on a 2-year deal you're not thinking, oh, it's just for next year, right? You're thinking also now. So my thought is, are we aggressive at the trade deadline? Because I know the 3 yards per carry and Alfredo talked about AJ Green, right? Which he just talked about possibly AJ Green being a trade candidate. I'm not saying him specifically, but do we look for other guys at the trade deadline to make us better?
Zach Cunningham.
I want Quinnen Williams. I figure if the Jets,
he's available.
If the Jets, the Jets after now they're 0-6. I was saying this during the game, and we need to talk about that defense too, because let's be real about something. Regardless of how bad the Jets are on offense, they shut them down, like completely down.
Other than running.
Well, Frank Gore, he's gonna get his yards.
Well, but Ty Johnson was killing us too, and Ty Johnson got cut by the freaking Lions.
So that's something we have to look at. The defense did pretty darn good, all things. Emmanuel Ogbah channeling the number 91 Cameron Wake magic. He's
had a really great string of games. I think there are positives. Like the defense, as you said, they deserve their respect for this game.
Well, and Shaq Lawson's improving too. Who all of us at the beginning of the season, we were all really upset with Lawson. I know I was. He looked
the first 2 weeks.
Looked bad the first couple weeks, and he's started to turn it on. He started to play better, right? Him and Ogbah on the defensive line, I don't think of as much of a liability anymore.
It's not a liability, but it's not something you get excited about either. It's good for Ogbah for doing what they're doing, but this is the Dolphins are doing exactly what they kept talking about they were going to do. They're not beating guys one-on-one. They're generating pass rush. They're sending Bobby McCain. They're sending Nick Needham. They're sending Eric Rowe.
They sent Brandon
Jones. Yeah. They're sending guys on blitzes.
Brandon Jones got that pick 6.
That would have been amazing. Howard almost got 2 interceptions today.
Yeah.
Brandon Jones has been having such a quietly good year that I wish he got that.
They're near the end of the game too. I was watching Noah Benogany. He was playing at the top of the screen, right? He was doing a pretty decent job covering his guys when I was watching him out there. Again, it's Jets receivers, but improvement is improvement. And I think a lot of the coaching staff was treating this like a preseason game, right? Like once we got later in the game, they're like, let's make some subs to get people some experience, get them some more playing time, get them the reps. I think the defense is looking good. And hey, if we can get Quinnen Williams, I'd be super excited about that.
Quinnen Williams.
Right, but why would the Jets trade in division like that? That's the only question that I have.
Because they're looking for draft picks. And who has more draft picks than Miami?
But what do you give up for Quinnen? Because I don't give up.
You have to start thinking about that, really.
Second round pick.
I'd do that.
We have give 2, right? I give a second round. Yes, we have. We do have 2. We have 2 second rounders. We have both of them are from the Tech. But what ours is from? We have the first and seconds from the Texans, and then our own. So, and mind you, Quinnen Williams is what? Is only in his second year.
Yeah.
So that's practically a rookie contract right there for free for a very talented young defensive lineman.
He says "bless you" to himself.
That's the best part about it.
That's the best part.
If we go priority list on trading, right? I'd go defense first.
And especially with the defensive line beat up right now. We saw Raekwon Davis go into the locker room.
Yep.
Devon Godchaux's on IR. So that leaves what? Zach Sealer and Christian Wilkins.
Yep.
And I think that they're really thin at defensive line right now. I'm not saying go out and make an offer to the Jets right now. It's like, hey, I know we just beat you down 24-0, but would you like to make a trade?
Look, here's what we'll do. We'll tell them we'll take Adam Gase away from you as part of the deal. So we'll give them a 4th round pick and we'll take Adam Gase and Quinnen Williams.
And put him as what? And put him as what?
We'll have Adam Gase
as No, don't take that deal. You know what? You're ruining the culture.
We can't. We don't need that.
You're ruining the culture before we even finish making it. You are ruining the culture.
We can't have him back in the building.
Not even a joke.
His bad juju. Come on.
Oh my God!
That comparison of him on the sideline with his freaking
face on the sideline. Oh my!
No, you never see his face. You never see his face.
No, I was talking about him and his playbook.
Stupid little play sheet. Like, look up. Your team is playing football.
And I love the rankings of his team's offenses. It's like 21, 24, 25, 27, 31 last. And I'm like, so this is the offensive guru. Yeah, this is the offensive guru y'all talked about. Okay.
Just to confirm, we have
Watching-
2 firsts, 2 seconds, a third, 2 fourths, 2 sixths, and a 7th. So that's 1, 2,
I'd give
3,
him a
4,
second rounder. Maybe if you can throw in a
5
mid-round
picks
pick
in the
in there
top
too.
100.
I'd look for another young defensive lineman if we can get one. That would be my number one. And then a linebacker too, if there was one available, in case we can't get a Micah Parsons in the draft or something.
There
Who
are
would
other
you
options
consider
though.
There are, but I would like a stud linebacker, right? I would like somebody that I know we can just plant there and leave him there for years. Because that would be really nice to see. Get us somebody like
Who are you
Zach
gonna-
Thomas back in the day.
I mean, maybe you throw something at Atlanta. Try to get one of the linebackers from Atlanta if you're really doing that. I mean, when you look at the bad teams, like the Bengals, what linebacker are you really going to get out of them? And they're probably not going to train anything right now. The Chargers, their record doesn't show for the way that their offense has been playing. Their defense sucks.
Yeah.
The Falcons, sure. The Texans threw away the game today. Jacksonville.
Hey, give Tannehill
Miles
some
Jack?
credit, man. Give some Tannehill some credit, Kai.
I don't want to talk about Tannehill. Don't.
Why not?
Nah, he had. Hey, look,
Man.
he did his thing, but you can't say that Romeo Crennel did not throw that game away with what the decisions he made. That's why he's not a head coach.
I didn't watch the game. I wasn't allowed to. While I'm watching the Bears and the Panthers on Fox Sports, CBS in here in Miami is showing bullfighting. I'm like, where's the football?
Oh, dude, Fox wasn't working at all today. I was so confused. I was like, I'm trying to watch Tom Brady beat down Aaron Rodgers, and wasn't happening. Wasn't even letting me. But then again, like I guess Jets, Giants, Vikings, 1-5. Are the Washington football team. I mean, those are your real chances, unless someone else drops. If you're really trying to make a play to get somebody,
But then you've got teams that are going to buy too, right? Because I know the Steelers just lost their linebacker Devin Bush to ACL injury, so they're going to be looking to buy a linebacker as well. The thing at that point though is we have more to offer than the Steelers do.
Do you think the 49ers
then who are you going
would be-
after? That's
Do
the
you
question.
think the 49ers would be willing to trade?
Are you thinking Quan
Who are
or
you
Fred
trading?
Warner?
Fred Warner.
No,
I
way.
would love
That's
Fred
not
Warner,
happening.
but-
I know.
Yeah,
but
there's
it's
no
still-
way that happens. I would take it every day of the week, but there's no
I
way.
don't see. That's literally the heart of their defense.
There's no way. It's just when you look at it, like, I don't know. That's why it's just so the Quentin Williams thing makes sense, but then it just goes back to like, would Joe Douglas really make a trade with Chris Greer? Then would he try to ask for more?
Is Joe Douglas going to be there next year? That's another question that would have to be asked.
You probably think that Gase is going to be or isn't going to be there, and Joe Douglas.
I don't
might?
think Gase is going to be there by Wednesday.
Who
He'll
knows?
stick around.
Yeah,
Stick
ownership
around.
loves
Seriously,
him.
they will
Ownership
stick around.
loves him.
He will stick around.
Woody
And
Johnson loves him.
Hold on. And don't get me wrong. I hope he does. And like I said, I hope they give him a contract extension. I would love it.
Or more.
They're not going to
years.
go that far, but they will
But
stick
you
him around.
have
At least
to-
until
as
they
long
draft
as
Trevor
he's-
Lawrence.
As long as he's around by Sunday, November 29th, week 12. That's all we need. Get,
No,
get
but
another
that
win
point,
in the
we'd be
book.
facing probably Greg Williams, and he's not going to get anything out of that team either. I don't understand how he sticks around on that team because you can see that the team gave up on him. You can see it on the field.
They want Trevor
Yeah.
Lawrence. They are tanking. The Jets
So-
are tanking.
oh,
I'm
so
willing to
that's
bet
why
it. The Jets are
Okay.
tanking.
So then they'll sell. So then that's where they'll sell, just to get more ammunition in case they need.
I would.
yeah.
Listen, if the Dolphins call me and say, listen, your season is screwed. Do you want more draft picks? Here's a second rounder. Give us your guy, defensive tackle. I'm like, sure. Why not? Let's see if I can draft another one in this upcoming draft. We know what we get with Quentin Williams. There's so much talent there. So much talent there. Quentin Williams and Christian Wilkins on the same interior defensive line.
Yep.
You saw Christian Wilkins.
Really good season. by the
Wilkins
way.
finally got single blocked and he sacked him. It's like,
Yeah. Well, and Wilkins is jumping over our safeties too.
Dude, he
I-
leaped over Brandon Jones.
Straight up Vince Cartered him, man.
He can do things that, like, it's for someone his size should not be
And
possible.
he runs all the way down to the touchdown every time we score. Christian Williams' character alone, I would keep him on the team, right? Because we can all say he didn't have a stellar year last year. He played well, but he didn't have a stellar year. And this year he's
Wilkins-
playing really well.
Wilkins
Yeah.
needs guys to free him up. He was
Yeah.
single blocked. He's double teamed on pretty much every play. He's a playmaker when he's given the opportunity to make play. I think it's almost the Ndamukong Suh syndrome. When Ndamukong Suh was here in Miami, he wasn't really the guy. He wasn't the guy in the same guy he was in Detroit. But
He
why
was,
was
but he
that?
wasn't.
He was, but he wasn't. That's what I'm saying. He was, but he wasn't. Because why? Because there were guys double teaming him. He wasn't able to. I keep getting distracted by the comments. It's like Gase is unkillable.
It's
This
always
is why I
always
made my taco prop for the pregame show. I rushed to make that prop, and I was just like, it's so perfect though. You talk about Adam Gase, you can't help it. As a janitor, yeah, and I'm not even as a janitor. I'm not even kidding. Keep him out. Keep him far away from Miami. He is a curse. He is a cancer. He is the worst thing that I've ever seen as a head coach. He's so arrogant. He's so up his own. You know what? I'm trying not to curse. I'm trying to be better with my language.
But, right? What if he was one of those guys in the yellow shirt at Dolphins at Hard Rock Stadium?
No. Did
you
hear me? No.
So funny though. No, with Gate, like, dude, I think obviously it's revisionist history. You know, we look at it now and we're just like, oh, Gase this, Gase that. But like, I know if we all go through our tweets after that first year,
but for real,
that man should have been coach of the year.
I thought he was going to be awesome. I really thought he was going to be awesome. But as time went on, you just saw his ego getting. His biggest thing is his ego. His ego.
Exactly. It's because it's who he is. Unfortunately, like it's just the whole situation. I mean, again, you go in and remember with the Dolphins.
Yeah, exactly. There it is.
Vets, like you have Dole Loggins as your freaking offensive coordinator, and people are asking you if you want to give up play calling. You're gonna give up play calling to Dole Like it's.
Well, and what was it? I think one of the only people I saw on Twitter during that season that wasn't really truly a believer, right, of people that write and stuff for the Dolphins was Omar Kelly, and he was always saying it's a lot of smoke and mirror plays, right? Like the offense isn't really that great.
No, but okay, but let's also be clear about something. I think the one thing that Omar liked about Adam Gase was that attitude.
Oh yeah, he thought it was hilarious.
So there you go. The one thing he did like was actually the downfall for this guy.
Hold on. We all thought it was funny when we were winning, though, right? He was super offish with people, and we're like, "Oh, you're winning. I don't care." He's Bill Belichick all over again, right? He gives attitude, but it's fine. We're winning. And the moment we start losing, and he gives the same attitude,
it's not funny anymore.
Like, nah. You got to answer for something, bro. So, I mean, I thought that season was exciting, and everyone was like, "We'll have Tannehill back next year. We're going to be even better. It's going to be great." And it was just a train wreck from there.
And it should have been. That's what sucks so much is that it should have been. Like the way that
that was also the year that Jay Cutler came in and ruined everything. So
Jay Cutler prime time against the Patriots, I'll never forget that.
Well, what we had Timmons, didn't Timmons not show up?
Lawrence Timmons, yes, that was a disaster
because he went to Pittsburgh and was like, "Guys, let me back in," and they're like, "Get out of here! You play for the Dolphins now." Like,
the funniest thing though, because once he actually got in there, Timmons actually wasn't that bad. Again, as a run stuffer, that was his thing. He was the run stuffer. And then Raekwon came in, a run stuffer, and then we got rid of him too. Do the Dolphins just oppose? Is Zach Cunningham really that awesome, Kai?
No, I've always liked Zach Cunningham. It's just like that. It's like a Killer Witherspoon, but Killer Witherspoon hasn't panned out at all. But it's just two players I've always just really liked.
I mean, Cunningham has a crap ton of tackles. I'll give him that.
So does a Landon Roberts.
Does he though? I got
better than Landon Roberts. That's
all
I gotta say.
A lot of options are better than him.
You know who else? You know who led the? Remember back in the Joe Philbin years, who led the Dolphins in tackles long ago? Do you know who I'm gonna say? Do you know the name?
I have a feeling.
I don't think I know.
Mr. Philip Wheeler.
Oh yeah.
Remember Philip Wheeler, the guy who we were gonna beat Aaron Rodgers. And he was the guy that Rodgers beat in the end zone for that last touchdown to put the game away.
That broke my heart.
Wheeler, and who's the other linebacker we got? The one from the Ravens.
Donnell Ellerbe. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying that a Landon Roberts is. He's Donnell Ellerbe, a hyped up special teamer who did really good in a couple of games as a backup and got a big deal out of it.
Yeah.
For the brand.
Well, and I thought, hey, listen, I feel like the linebacking core has to be redone in a lot of places.
Micah Parsons.
But you've got to find some way to free up Jerome Baker to just let him run at the quarterback.
Micah Parsons.
At
let
least
him do what he's good at.
7 to 8 times a game. Because when Jerome Baker runs at the QB, he's always there. Oh, don't talk about Will Allen. Oh gosh. I remember Will Allen. That dude freaking sucked.
I think the way that we can all, with all the negative energy in the air, look at is, Tua, that handoff.
Is it really negative though, Kai? Is it really negative?
No, it's honest.
We're
It's
not talking
honest.
negative
It's
about
honest.
the Dolphins. We're
No,
not
it's
talking
honest.
negative. We're not even talking negative about the Dolphins.
Yeah,
We're trashing Adam Gase on this show
now.
now.
I was just trying to put a Tua joke in there. You know, that's all it was.
Oh, please, no. All those Tua puns, I couldn't stand it. I'm like, oh, my God, here we go. Oh,
yeah.
the Tua. It's the 2-minute warning. Tua went 2 for Tua. Woo!
Amazing.
Don't get me wrong. Look, I'm waiting to celebrate because I wanted Herbert. So it's just, I'm waiting. I can't be a part of this train for a while.
You wanted him over Tua?
I was very concerned about Tua's health, just from the outside looking in, because just everything was just really, really weird on the outside looking in. I was completely fine with Herbert, and I think all of the introvert stuff and all that other crap was just BS.
I think Herbert will come back down to earth. I really do. He's played well,
obviously, just like Burrow has now. But like, I just think that I don't know. I like Herbert, and I hope that he's successful. But I think the stuff with Herbert playing well and Joe Burrow playing well, and everyone being like, "Well, is Tua really good?" Like, pipe it down a little bit. Even me, who was just concerned about the health, it doesn't matter how good Joe Burrow was last year. If Tua was 100% healthy, he was the number 1 overall pick, undoubtedly. Like, it's just. It doesn't. Some of that stuff that's going on right now doesn't make any sense to me.
I think he doesn't start after the break. I think he doesn't start until at least week. What would that be? 8, 9?
Week 9 against Arizona, who are frauds, just like Kyler Murray.
So, I think. Hold on. I think Kyler Murray is going to give us a hard time. I don't think we defend the run well. So I think we got a running quarterback. I don't think they're great, but a running quarterback, I think, is going to give us a really rough time.
Well, honestly. We'll see what happens coming up. So, yeah,
yep.
Los Angeles Rams next. There's your Tua shirt. Make sure you go buy it at 5reasonsports.com. And also make sure you go to prizepicks.com and get yourself 100% match on your $100 deposit up to $100. And, of course, promo code word is 5. That's F. I'm about to do this. I'm about to do the call center thing. We have to use the phonetic alphabet there. So every time I say a letter, I have to use like F as in Foxtrot, I as in India, V as in Victor. It's like, God, it's like a program. I need some time to defrag and get that virus out of my head. So, but anyway, so listen. All things considered, Dolphins are 3-3. They're in the playoff hunt. They're gonna be threatening for a wild card, I think. So be prepared for what's going to be coming up. So we'll see what happens. And unless you guys have any final thoughts, we'll go ahead and wrap this bugger up.
We have a couple we got 2 Tua throws. That should hold some people over for a couple weeks. Just keep watching those over and over again. He'll be back. Just keep watching that. And remember, hey, the future's looking good. So just everybody chill. He'll come, but just watch the 2 throws for now.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. So thank you all so much for joining us. We will see you all the week after next week for another Dolphins pregame and postgame show. Good night.